The winner of the Premier League this season will be. Hello and welcome everyone. I hope you guys are doing well. And finally, it's that time of the year. The time of the year that we all are very excited about as the new Premier League season is about to begin. And it is an obligation to do the Premier League predictions just before the Premier League season begins. And here we are with our 24-25 Premier League season predictions with a little added taste of biasness. So without any further ado, let's get started. Let's get started with the rules, which is basically the criteria for accountability. And it is quite simple. As for every correct prediction, we will get 5 points. For every wrong prediction, we will get a minus 3 point. And at the end of the season, we will revisit our predictions and rate ourselves. And if the predictions turn out to be net positive, it is well and good, and it is a testament to our good football knowledge. And if the score turns out to be negative, which won't happen, I'm quite sure about it, we'll have to do a forfeit. And what the forfeit will be? Well, we will decide it at the end of the season. So starting off with the relegation contenders, recently we have seen a trend that at least 2 of the newly 3 promoted sides tend to go back to the championship by getting relegated in the very first season in the Premier League. However, last year was an exception, as just not only 2 but 3 teams went down straight, all those that came promoted. And this season I don't think there will be this trend, as I believe that at least 2 of the newly 3 promoted sides will definitely go back, and at 20th, that's why I have Southampton. And the main concern I have regarding Southampton is related to their manager Russell Martin. And although I really like him, but I still think that his style of play won't work in the Premier League, and he isn't someone who could adapt easily to the Premier League, and his style of play isn't flexible, which would make it really hard for Southampton to survive in the Premier League. That's why I have them right at the bottom of the table. At number 19, we have got Ipswich Town, again a newly promoted side, a team that I have admired a lot as they have gone back-to-back promotions, which is an incredible achievement by Kieran McKenna and his whole team. They have had a great transfer window so far. They have brought in the likes of Omari Hutchinson, Liam Delap, and Jacob Greaves, who was a phenomenal centre back for Hull City last year. All 3 signings make a lot of sense, and these are quite good signings. However, I still believe their midfield does not have the Premier League quality, and their squad still lacks depth. And this is the main reasons that I don't think that Ipswich will be able to survive in the Premier League there, and therefore I think they will finish at 19th. And the last team that I have put in the relegation zone might come as a surprise for a few of you, and it is Wolves. And the main reason that I have put Wolves in the relegation zone is because they don't really have a standout player, especially after the departure of Pedro Neto. And I think their defense looks terrible right now, especially after the departure of Max Gilman to West Ham. And their defense does not have a lot of quality, and there aren't much reinforcements right now as well. And that's why I think that they'll probably end up at 18th. Now, just above the relegation zone, I have gone with 3 teams that I believe have just about enough quality to be able to survive in the Premier League, and the teams are Leicester, Brentford and Nottingham Forest. Now, Leicester especially do have few really good players that might surprise a lot of people, and I personally have got a feeling that they might just be able to finish above 17 and push above their weight as well. Now, moving on to Brentford, a team well known for their innovation. However, there hasn't been a lot of innovation shown by Brentford for the past 1 or 2 years, especially on the pitch, which is a major source of concern, and they should be doing well. They should be doing much better than what they are, especially in the transfer market. And as for Nottingham Forest, they have got few really good players, really talented players that I highly rate, and I think that they suit Nuno's system as well, and that's why I think that they will be able to finish higher than what they finished last year, which was 17th. So I've put them in 15th this year. So next up at 14th and 13th, I have got Fulham and Everton, 2 teams that have really good coaches in Marco Silva and Sean Dyche. However, both teams have lost a very important player in Joao Polina and Amadou Onana, and I think this might lead to both the teams struggling a little bit this season, and that's why I've put them in 14th and 13th. And to finish the bottom half of the table, I have gone with Bournemouth and West Ham, and I know the West Ham one might surprise a few people, as there is a lot of high expectations, especially after the transfer window they are having, and a lot of people are also discussing the possibility of West Ham finishing in the European spots. However, I do not believe this way. The main concern with West Ham for me is regarding their manager Julian Lopetegui, who I don't think is a top manager. He's just an average manager personally for me. And another concern that I have regarding West Ham is the expenditure of money. I think that West Ham could have spent their money much better than they did, and I feel that they have overpaid for players like Fulcro and Kilman, who are decent players, don't get me wrong, but they have just overpaid a little for them. And however, they have made few good signings in Todibo and Somerville, but I still do not think that they will be able to finish in the top half of the table. Now moving on to the top half of the Premier League table, I have gone with Brighton and Crystal Palace at 10 and 9 respectively, and both teams have made really good signings in such as Brighton signing Yakuba Mente and Weifel, while Crystal Palace have made signings such as Ismail Assar and Kamada as well. Both teams have had really good transfer windows. However, I still do have few question marks regarding Brighton's defense, and that's why I could not be able to put them above 10th. And I personally don't know a lot about Hozeler. However, I'm really excited to see how the youngest manager in the Premier League does this season. Now moving towards the highly controversial prediction, which is Chelsea finishing 8th. Now I know a lot of people might argue that they have signed Pedro Neto, who is a phenomenal player, which is absolutely true, and they have also brought in a good coach in Enzo Maresca. However, my only counter argument regarding Chelsea is a famous football saying, which is environment is king. And Chelsea's environment from top to bottom, basically from the ownership to the players, isn't great, and honestly it's a mess. And I personally believe that Maresca would be unable to deal with all the chaos, and it would be reflected through the results. That's why I don't think that Chelsea would be able to qualify for the European competitions. And Chelsea's environment from top to bottom, basically from the ownership to the players, isn't great, and honestly it's a mess. And I personally believe that Maresca would be unable to deal with all the chaos, and it would be reflected through the results. That's why I don't think that Chelsea would be able to qualify for the European competitions. Next up at 7th, I have gone with Newcastle United, and just a disclaimer that this video is getting recorded before the potential signing of Mark Guehi, and if Mark Guehi does arrive to Newcastle, it would be a major boost, and I can see them potentially finishing even higher. But right now, I have got them at 7th. Next up for the Europa League spots, I have gone with two teams that personally for me have had the best transfer window so far, and these teams are Aston Villa and Man United. Aston Villa have signed few incredible players, few top talents, not incredible currently, but top talents whose names are quite hard to pronounce, that's why I won't be getting into it. But most notoriously, they have signed Amadou Onana, who takes them to a complete new level physically, and he's physically a phenom, and we all know this. And this is a phenomenal signing from Aston Villa. And the only reason that I haven't put them higher is mainly because of the fact that they will be playing in the UCL, and this might just affect the league form a little. That's why I think that they might not be able to push higher. As for United, I have been a huge fan of Ineos' work so far. From the transfers to the personnel changes, all have been top quality so far, and they have been laying foundations of a really successful team in the future. However, currently I think that 5th is where they'll be finishing. Now moving on to the most prestigious stage, which is the UCL qualifications and the top 4, and I personally have got Tottenham and Liverpool at 4th and 3rd. The reason that I have gone with Tottenham is because they have made few really good signings and overall have improved their squad, and I definitely think they'll be able to qualify for UCL finally this year. As for Liverpool, this one is really confusing. Although I really highly rate Arne Slot, and I believe he's a really top quality manager, but the Liverpool's lack of movement in the transfer window has been really concerning. And now that Zubimendi deal is off, I don't know what lies in the future for Liverpool. But I think that under Arne Slot, and Liverpool do have enough quality to qualify for UCL. But I believe that there would be an even bigger difference than last year between the number 3 and the top 2. And now moving to the part which has given me sleepless nights, like literally, and this is who will be crowned the Premier League champion for 24-25. Now at the start of the video I said that these predictions are a little biased, and so far I haven't been biased at all, but this is the part where I do bring in my little biasness. And if you guys don't know, I'm an Arsenal fan, and this is why I have gone with Arsenal winning the Premier League this season. Now, my heart said Arsenal, my brain said Man City, and eventually I went with my heart and went for Arsenal to win the Premier League this season, and hopefully we can finally do this year and end the era of dominance of Pep once and for all. Now moving towards the individual awards and starting off with the Golden Boot, and in my opinion there is only one person for the Golden Boot, and that is none other than the robot Erling Haaland, and I think he's by far the best striker, and for me he's the undisputed best striker in the league, and he'll obviously win the Golden Boot for me if he's able to stay fit for the most part of the season. Now moving on towards the Golden Glove, and I think that it will go once again to David Raya. I feel that Arsenal is the best defense in the league, and David Raya, just like last season, will be able to get another Golden Glove this season as well. Now moving on to the player that I think will get the most assists this season, and I have gone with Martin Odegaard here. This season I feel that Arsenal will be much better offensively than they were last season, and I feel that Martin Odegaard will have much more freedom, especially in the attacking third, and this will result in him getting more assists this season. Now moving on towards the signings of the season, and here we have got a split between two very good signings in my opinion, and the players are Ricardo Calafiori and Dominic Solanke. These are two top quality players, and exactly the kind of players that both the teams, Arsenal and Tottenham, have been missing in the last season, and I feel that both of them will be equally good and will be really crucial for their teams to have a really good season ahead. Now let's move forward, and next up we have got the underrated signing of the season. Now as the name suggests, this is a very good signing who isn't getting a lot of hype in the media, and for this I have gone with Ilman Ndiaye, the player who has recently signed for Everton from Olympic Marseille for just 15 million, and I personally think that this will prove to be a real bargain for Everton in the upcoming season. Next up we have got the surprise package of the season, and for this I have gone with Isakahu Fatawu. I'm sorry for mispronunciation if there is any. Isakahu Fatawu plays for Leicester and is a right winger, and I saw him for the first time when I was making my Maresca to Chelsea analysis, and he was the player that caught my eye the most, as he's electric honestly, and he's quite good in all areas. A little raw currently, but I definitely think that he will improve this season. Still only 20, and I definitely think that he will be raising few eyebrows this season, and I'm quite excited to see how he does this season. Next up we have got to predict who will be the first managerial sacking of the season, and here I have gone with Russell Martin. As previously explained at the start of this video, I don't think Russell Martin will be able to adapt well enough to the Premier League, and I definitely think that Southampton might need to get rid of him sooner if the results don't go his way. And last up I've got a very interesting topic, which is the no judgment opinion, and this is a really interesting one, as in this we are basically allowed to express one of our thoughts which does not make a lot of sense but is in our minds, and we think that it might happen, so this is a safe space, as we are not allowed to judge anyone upon this, and everyone can reduce their burden of their mind and express their thoughts. So let me know about yours in the comments, and I personally have gone with Arsenal beating Chelsea's 15 goal record, and this is an incredible record by Chelsea set few years ago, but I think this is something that is definitely going in my mind, that Arsenal can possibly beat this, so I'll just throw it out there and hope to get it through. And if we get it through, we will get a lot more points. So let me know yours in the comment below. I'm quite excited to hear what are your no judgment opinions, and I'll definitely read all of them. And that's it for this video. If you have made it till here, I would really appreciate if you could drop a like and subscribe to my channel. And thanks for watching. I'll see you next time with